You've probably never had to think seriously about whether the ground beneath your feet might kill you. For most of human history, that wasn't a luxury anyone had. Somewhere in the grass, in the leaf litter, curled beneath a rock warmed by the sun, was something that could end a life in under an hour. And there was no antivenom, no hospital, no emergency call. Just you, the bite, and whatever your body and your tribe could figure out in time. And yet humans survived. Not by avoiding snakes entirely, that was never fully possible, but through an accumulated, hard-won body of knowledge about venom, treatment, and risk that got passed down for tens of thousands of years before anyone understood what venom actually was. So how did ancient humans survive an enemy they couldn't outrun, couldn't always see coming, and didn't understand at all? Start with what early humans were actually up against, because the danger was more specific than just snakes. Venomous snakebite is one of the oldest documented threats to human survival, and the fossil and archaeological record suggests humans and venomous snakes have been in close, dangerous contact since our species began walking across the same savannas and forest floors. These animals called home. Some researchers have even proposed that this long, dangerous relationship shaped human vision itself, a controversial idea, but a compelling one, suggesting that primates evolved unusually sharp visual attention, specifically tuned to spot camouflaged, coiled shapes in leaf litter, because the primates who failed to notice them simply didn't survive to pass on their genes. Whether or not that theory fully holds, it points to something real. For a huge stretch of human evolutionary history, spotting a snake half a second faster than the person next to you wasn't a party trick. It was survival. Without any understanding of toxins or bloodstream chemistry, ancient humans built survival knowledge almost entirely through trial, error, and painful memory passed down through oral tradition. Different venoms cause different symptoms. Some attack the nervous system, causing paralysis that can stop breathing. Others destroy blood cells and tissue directly, causing swelling, bleeding, and necrosis around the wound. Ancient communities couldn't name these mechanisms, but they could absolutely observe them. And generations of observation built up remarkably specific practical knowledge. Which snakes to fear most, how fast symptoms progressed, and which treatments seemed to help versus which ones made things obviously worse. Archaeological and ethnographic evidence from cultures across Africa, Asia, and the Americas shows a strikingly similar set of first response instincts developing independently in unconnected populations. Immobilizing the bitten limb to slow the venom's spread through the body, a genuinely correct piece of medical intuition that modern emergency medicine still recommends today. Keeping the affected limb still, rather than moving around in panic, reduces how quickly venom circulates through the lymphatic system. Ancient communities arrived at this insight without any concept of lymphatic circulation at all, purely by noticing that people who stayed calm and still after a bite seemed to fare better than people who panicked and ran. Not every traditional response held up, though, and this is where the story gets more complicated. Some widely practiced ancient treatments, tried across wildly different cultures with no contact between them, turned out to be actively harmful. Cutting the wound and attempting to suck out venom, a technique appearing in folk medicine traditions from ancient Greece to indigenous cultures across multiple continents, feels intuitively logical. Get the poison out before it spreads. But modern medical research has shown this does almost nothing to remove venom, which spreads through tissue and lymph far faster than suction can extract it, while introducing serious risk of infection to an already compromised wound. Tourniquets, another treatment used across many ancient cultures independently, present a similarly mixed picture. Cutting off blood flow entirely can concentrate venom dangerously in one area and risk killing the limb itself through lack of circulation, even while the underlying instinct, stop the poison from spreading, was fundamentally sound. Ancient healers were reasoning correctly about the problem. They simply lacked the physiological detail to know which specific interventions actually worked. Where ancient humans got genuinely sophisticated was in prevention and plant-based treatment, areas where trial and error over countless generations produced real, functioning knowledge. Traditional healers across snake-heavy regions developed extensive pharmacopoeias of plants used to treat bites. And modern pharmacological research has confirmed that a meaningful number of these traditional remedies contain compounds with genuine antivenom or wound-healing properties. Not folklore, but functioning chemistry, discovered centuries before anyone could explain why it worked. In India, certain traditional medicine systems developed elaborate protocols combining specific plants, wound care, and rest, some of which modern researchers have specifically investigated for their anti-inflammatory and tissue protective effects. In parts of Africa and South America, indigenous communities identified specific plants that, when chewed or applied directly to a bite, measurably reduced swelling and tissue damage in ways later confirmed by laboratory analysis of their chemical compounds. None of this replaced antivenom. Nothing traditional fully neutralizes venom the way modern antivenom serum does, but it meaningfully improved survival odds and reduced long-term tissue damage in bites that weren't immediately fatal. Prevention, though, mattered more than treatment, and this is where oral tradition did its most important work. Knowledge of snake behavior, which species were active at night versus day, which habitats to avoid during breeding season, how to check bedding and footwear in snake-dense regions before use, became deeply embedded cultural practice, taught to children as seriously as any other survival skill, because it had to be. A community that successfully taught its children to check inside a hollow log before reaching into it, or to walk loudly through tall grass to give snakes time to flee, prevented far more deaths than any treatment ever could after the fact. This body of knowledge, refined over an almost unimaginable span of time, eventually became formalized into the traditional medicine systems that still exist today, and much of it fed directly into the modern scientific study of venom that eventually produced true antivenom serum in the late 19th century. A breakthrough that, for the first time in human history, offered something ancient trial and error never could: an actual, reliable cure. Trace the whole arc back, and the story of surviving snakebite is really a story about accumulated attention. No single generation solved the problem. Each one added a fragment: which symptoms mattered, which plants helped, which habits saved lives, which treatments quietly did more harm than good. None of it came from understanding venom as chemistry. All of it came from watching, remembering, and passing forward one dangerous encounter at a time until enough fragments existed that a community bitten by a snake had a real, if imperfect, chance of survival. The antivenom vial in a modern hospital exists because of that trial and error, millennia of it, mostly invisible, carried forward by people who never knew what venom actually was, but who paid close enough attention to save the people who came after them.